Oh, we do. 6 o'clock, meeting's called to order. And
Mike.
we take attendance.
You got your mic on?
Would the clerk take the attendance, please?
Mr. Picard,
Here.
Mr. White, Mr. Waters,
Here.
Ms. Wagner,
Here.
Mr. Shearer, Mr. Polachek.
Here.
Thank you.
So we have a quorum here. Meeting's been called to order, had roll call. Any correction and approval of the minutes? If there are no corrections to the minutes, I would accept a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the minutes of May 14th.
Second.
Second. Voice vote, all those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
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 Nays? Hearing none. Those minutes have been approved. Number 4, items, questions and public comments. Is there anyone here for public comments? And seeing none, does anybody have any questions? Hearing none, let's move to the director's report. Randy?
Thank you. Dave, if you could pull up the slide presentation, please. All right, first slide, please. So we'll start with the electric department. This past month, we've been focused on services and doing infrastructure maintenance. Slide. We spent a good deal of time, a week or so, storing up transformers at our Gundalock station. Slide. These are our pole-mounted transformers. The previous slide was our pad-mounted. These are very expensive, and it's important to have inventory on hand for emergencies. Slide. And these are some newly arrived pad-mounted transformers. Slide. We've been doing a number of reconnects on this particular residence. They were performing some work on the side of their house and the line was cut, so our crew responded. Slide. They're building an egress window and the line, like I said, was cut. So the crew quickly shut off their power when they got out there and then started to reestablish the line. Slide. And this is typical for these type of situations where sometimes work is done even though the line is marked. It's hard to determine the elevation, so a contractor will sometimes hit the line and cut the power. Slide. Here's a service installation that the electric crew is performing. Slide. I'll try and highlight it because it's a little dark. Oh, previous slide, please, Dave. I'm sorry. This is the power pole here. The power line is coming in overhead, and it travels down to the base through the meter. And then this crew is trenching from the pole to this meter pedestal. Slide. What's important here is typically they'll call out the digger hotline ticket to get all the utilities that are in the ground marked, and that was done here. But you'll notice all this communication wire coming down here, and the ground is just strewn with it, so we had to get out the vac trailer and do a continuous trench from the base of the pole to the meter pedestal. Slide. And it's a dirty job, but it was absolutely necessary considering all the infrastructure that was buried in that area. Slide. Then with the street department, we've spent a lot of time the last few weeks doing storm brush pickup and drainage maintenance. Slide. This is over at our yard waste site. Slide. Right now, the street department has 3 full-time staff. We are very understaffed. We are starting our interviews tomorrow for 2 operators, and we are advertising for a foreman. But we've been inundated in the past month with just so much drop-off in our yard waste site. It's really hard to get a handle of. We're anxiously awaiting the completion of our new yard waste site. But this is the crew offloading all of the material and taking it to our dump site. Slide. and slide. And now they are working on, this is West Lake Park Place. We're going to do some inlet repair. So they're preparing to saw cut around 2 different inlets, slide, with the walk behind wet saw. And the next slide will demonstrate why this is kind of necessary. Hold there, please. One of the residents in this neighborhood had a driveway poured, and the concrete supplier drained or washed out his truck into our inlet. This was brought to my attention. It's very upsetting because this inlet goes into the lake eventually. There is a retainage pond between this inlet and the lake, so hopefully we collected the residue in that pond, but it also damages our inlet. I am following up on this matter. Slide. And slide. The crew, limited as they are, we are pushing very hard for the new yard waste site at the south end of CP Avenue. We have a good window this week of dry weather. So right now they're excavating down to subgrade elevation. We have, it's off this picture, but over on this side is a lot of stone we've been stockpiling, and we're going to start pushing it in there 3-inch with fine grades. Slide. And slide. And this is basically the rough outline, the footprint we'll call it. This is the road. We're going to extend another 200 feet, and then this area is going to be the new pad. And then once this is done, we get the gravel built up to grade. We'll start creating our perimeter with precast concrete blocks and our gate. And then we're going to have 3 cameras mounted. Slide. Wastewater Department's been busy with the collection system maintenance, and a lot of televising and jetting. Slide. This is Jim. He is in the back of the televising truck, and they are on the other side of the lake over in Shorewood Hills. Slide. And they're at the end of the cul-de-sac. There is a sewer line that goes along the shoreline. This sewer line has a lot of trouble with it. There's been a lot of settlement. There's been a lot of development over the sewer line. So it takes a good deal of maintenance on Bill's part here, he and his staff, to continually televise this, to jet it out, to try and maintain positive flow. Slide. And in this case, they're parked up there in the cul-de-sac, and Ben comes down here to the manhole, and they are feeding the power cable to a robotic camera and sending the image back up there where Jim is monitoring any obstructions. And if we find something significant that we get to, then we use the vac truck that was also in that photo and jet out the obstruction. Slide. And you can just kind of see Jim's looking through the pipe right there. Slide. Over at the plant, they're also doing a good deal of maintenance. This is, well, I call it a hopper, but it's a dump station that we make available at times when necessary. But it has been clogged. Slide. And it's required a good deal of maintenance. What is clogging it is this big, where's my pile of grit right here. They've been pumping this out of the lines. This gets built up and becomes an obstruction. So they've been pumping that up, and then we're going to haul that away. Slide. The Waste Sanitary Department also was helping out with our electrical crew. This is what we call potholing. Slide. The electrical crew had to establish where the power line was. Their vac trailer is not big enough, so they put in a call to Bill here, and his crew came out and started potholing so we could locate in the field where the line was. And that way no one hits it. Slide. In the water department, we've been doing residual testing and utility locates. Slide. So this is Andrew. He gets a digger's ticket. And this particular resident is going to do some work in their garden, and they wisely called in a digger's hotline ticket, and Andrew comes out and he's starting to set up his continuity line, establishing power through the line. It helps us identify where the different utilities are underground. Slide. And then once he establishes the continuity, he starts using his wand there in his hand. It helps him locate where the line is. Slide. And he's wanding this area. Slide. and locating the pipe. Slide. We've also been doing residual tests. This is Devin. He's down inside one of our wells, and he is sampling the water for the fluoride, orthophosphate, and chlorine residual tests. Slide. He collects the water, takes it up to our little workstation in well number 4, and he uses his handheld unit, which makes things a lot easier now. When I was Devin's age, we had little vials, and we'd have to test the color. But slide. And slide. Then we record the data and submit it. Slide. Moving on to our projects. We'll start with the TAP grant project. Slide. And slide. We are about 90% done with the concrete installation. They have projected one more day of placing concrete, and then we're going to jump right into restoration. Their landscaping crew will be coming out this week and next and hopefully complete all the restoration. Here you see Dwayne boldly standing there and directing how we're going to relay a sidewalk for along Unshaven Road. The other people in the picture belong to the St. Paul Lutheran Church there, and they had some concerns on the sidewalk, so we went out there and laid a new path. Slide. And this is just along Marguerite, to give you an example of just the completion of most of the work. Slide. And slide. And this is on Pope Street, I think. Pope or Reed? Pope. Just showing how we've done a lot of new sidewalk and driveway aprons. Slide. And curb and gutter. Slide. And slide. This is Marguerite and Ferry. This is some of the last things we were doing. Just the new crosswalks. Slide. Brookstone Phase 8 has not moved much since we last met. We Energy's gas is coming in, and they're going to be installing their gas lines in the terraces. Just for full disclosure, I am part of the reason for the delay. There was a disagreement between our department and We Energies on where they were going to put the gas line. Eventually, we settled on where they were proposing, and work is now going to move ahead soon. We're still within schedule, though, even though we've had a delay. Slide. And slide. We've had some special events. About 4 weeks ago, we had a Touch a Truck event at the McDonald's parking lot in town, where a lot of the vehicles that are serviced or used in Lake Mills were on site, and families were able to bring their kids and interact with the different operators and the vehicles. The fire department and police department were there as well. We contributed 3 different vehicles. The crew spent a lot of time cleaning the vehicles up, make them presentable. Slide. And slide. And slide. One of our operators, overhead operators, had a great idea that he had done before of bringing in a small modernized utility pole and giving children an opportunity to climb that pole and take pictures with it. Slide. And then our foreman, TJ here in Austin, had a great time interacting with the kids, getting them in all the gear, and it was a big hit. Slide. And slide. Another activity we just did, we made our building at Light and Water available for electronic recycling. Slide. This is hosted by Jefferson County, and they have a contractor come in and set up, and vehicles start coming in on one end and dropping off their material for recycling, and they go out the other bay door. Slide. This too was a big hit. This line actually goes out to Industrial Drive and up the road. It did not finish. It went an hour. It went overtime. It was supposed to end at 11, and it kept going just because there were so many cars. We had to eventually shut off the line and apologize, but we had to end the event. Not prematurely, but while there were still people waiting to get in. Slide. Slide. And that's it. That is your director's report.
Thank you, Randy. Nice
Absolutely.
report. Does anybody have any questions for Randy?
I do. The inlet repair cost, like who's responsible for that when a contractor dumps into our?
Well, right now, the city is bearing the cost. We are calculating it. It is my goal to relay that cost to a responsible party. I cannot tell you right now who is directly responsible, but I do hope to find out. So,
Would that contractor have insurance that might pick up some of that or not?
I don't know if their insurance company would cover negligence like that.
Do we just send them the bill?
Absolutely,
See what happens?
yes.
All right.
And where do we dump and rinse out concrete? Where should it be rinsed out into?
If it's a large project, to deliver this report. So,
Okay, with that, I'll take it away. So a lot of you have heard me do this year after year, and I guess I can go through it to a greater or lesser detail, whatever you want, but the CMAR is required by NR 208 to be done annually by June 30th, and the city of Lake Mills is required to complete the report, so we've done that. We're looking for a resolution. The report's 28 pages long. It's in 10 sections.
Yep.
I can go through each of those a little bit if you want, or if you probably saw, the report is a 3.92 GPA. We had a few issues in one section, but all in all, it's a good report. Would you like me to go through the sections?
I'm okay with you just talking about the area where you didn't get a perfect score. It's commendable. Year after year, you have hundreds in almost every section, and I think it's just that one section. So I'm good if you just highlight that.
Yeah, there's a couple things I can touch on then. I guess the section where we didn't do quite as well was phosphorus, our effluent phosphorus, and that relates directly to the new treatment plant that we're looking at having at some point. But our phosphorus limit currently or in 23 is less than 1. Our new limit is less than 0.8. So there was 1 month where I was not quite able to stay under 1. We achieved that by chemical addition. We add aluminum sulfate, and that precipitates the phosphorus in the sludge. And I guess we've had some staffing turnover, and while that's not directly, I guess, the only thing that contributed to it, by the time I was aware that we were close to the edge and I made the chemical adjustment, it was kind of late to get the kind of a turnout that I wanted. The other thing we had going was in June, we had a bit of a plant upset. I'll call it a minor upset, but the plant was somewhat upset. I saw a little rise, nowhere near the limit, but a little spike. If you look at June in ammonia, I had a little bit of BOD that really doesn't show a lot by the average, but we did have some issues going on in June with the plant, and that I believe attributed to that little bit higher number as well. So we reviewed the procedures with new staff and made them aware of kind of what's required. And going forward, I don't think we'll have that same problem. I'd like to say we've also, I guess, had some new staff come on board, and we've got 3 new people and they're doing an excellent job. We've got a lab manager that comes to us with a lot of experience, and she's doing a really great job. We were nominated by the DNR for Lab of the Year in 2023. We did not win that award, however. Our auditor thought we should have, so that was kind of nice, and she's really turned around what I thought was a good lab and made it a great lab. We've also had 2 other new hires that come to us with collection system experience, and if you look at the collection system section of the report, you'll see that, well, we didn't meet all of the goals I had for the maintenance and the collection system. The things that we absolutely smashed were the sewer maintenance or cleaning. And that's, as Randy showed you, where all that grit's coming from, we're pulling that out of the sewer. Now, this is the second time we've cleaned out that vault gets full of grit in the 30-some years I've been there. So I would say these guys are moving a lot of material. They're really doing a good job. So I guess I want to commend the city for hiring. We've got 3 really high-quality people, and I like the direction that the team is going. So I think the future's looking good. And if you look at the operator certification section and the staffing and preventive maintenance section, in the beginning of '23, we had a few staff issues, and we resolved those with these new folks. And again, 3 great hires, and they're really doing a good job for you. So they're all working on getting their certifications, and I guess that'll give us good succession planning going forward, should we have people leave or anything. Not that anyone's planning to, but, if that happens, we'll be covered, I hope.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, I'm happy to answer. But
I noticed even the phosphorus, the grade was B, and all the other categories, we got a grade of A in each of those. So that's the 1B. So overall, it's a good report card.
I'm happy with it, yeah.
I would be
mean,
very happy. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just a question regarding this effluent monthly average phosphorus. You said that it's changing to 0.8, right?
Yes,
Is
yes.
that going to be an issue based on your data? It's looking like we're kind of hovering right around that.
Well, so when my limit was 1, my goal was 0.8. So if you see me hovering around 0.8, I'm doing that on purpose, so I'm not spending your money on chemical that we don't need to use. When our limit is 0.8, I'm trying to hover around 0.6, so I'm not spending your money on chemical we don't need to use. And also, eventually, whatever we put in ends up going into the environment, whether it's aluminum salts or phosphorus, so
Right.
that's.
Great.
And the discharge is going where for this?
The discharge of the effluent goes to Rock Creek, which goes to the Crawfish River, which goes into the Rock River Basin. The phosphorus is settled into the biosolids, or sludge as we like to call it, and that is applied on farm fields. They use the nitrogen as fertilizer. Probably most of the fields in this part of the state don't need the phosphorus, but it has to go somewhere. So the theory is that it's bound in the sludge and it shouldn't move. That's the theory.
Yeah, it'll bind to the soil as well, but that soil moves.
We may have troubles. I mean, I kind of tell you some of this is foreshadowing is that I don't know if as the limit gets lower, it may be harder to meet because we're using chemical and the chemical could have other reactions within the process. And so I might not get the bang for the buck by adding more chemical, and we are somewhat limited. I can't just keep dumping chemical like water on a fire. At some point, it's done about all it can do, and you're just changing the pH and upsetting the process and wasting chemical.
Right. No, I think you did an amazing job. I was just kind of curious, based on that limit change, how that was going to impact your future report.
Thanks.
Greg?
Yeah, staff did a good job. Like I said, I'm really proud of the team we're putting together, so.
Yeah, a B is not a bad grade, especially when it comes to phosphorus.
It was, we had a scary minute in '23 where we were down to just myself and one other operator with less experience, but I mean, we've bounced back. So I guess you can tell I'm enthusiastic about where we're going, so.
Yeah, my question for Mr. Kiesling is a follow-up on the phosphate, June 2023, where it went over. Is there any reporting? Is there like a corrective action report, or is it just more of a awareness of the situation? You talked about how you corrected the situation, but I was just wondering if there was any documentation with that.
As far as, I mean, yeah, I do a monthly report. I notify the DNR.
Okay.
I have a basin engineer that I notify. I do a monthly report that's kind of an abbreviated version of this. It just covers the parameters, and they're made aware that we violated, it's reported, and what did I do about it. I had a meeting with staff and we reviewed the procedures, and going forward, we'll hopefully have that corrected.
Outstanding. That's exactly what I was asking about. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions for,
How'd you manage to get 0.4? That seems insanely low in November. It was super low.
yeah,
Why do you think it was that low?
I guess I'd have to go back and look. Was there high flows? Because sometimes that will
Dilution,
impact
maybe?
it in November.
it's the lowest one.
No, there really wasn't. We probably just, I don't know. It got too low. I wasn't watching it close enough, to be honest with you. That would be my guess.
Not a bad
mean-
thing.
If I'm that low, I'm not at my target rate, so my apologies.
Okay, so then we move on to item number 7, recommendation for future agendas.
We should make a recommendation on this.
Don't we have to approve this?
I'd like to make,
You need to,
yep, I'd like to recommend to the city, that the city council approve the wastewater treatment plant compliance maintenance annual report.
I second.
can we do a voice vote, or do you need a roll call on that?
Well, let's do a roll call for this one.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept this report and move it towards the common council. And would the clerk take the roll, please?
Mr. Waters?
Aye.
Ms. Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Polachek?
Aye.
Mr. Picard?
Aye.
And Mr. White? Believe joined online? All right, motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot that. And then the next item is the future agenda items, number 7. Okay, hearing none, then I guess we move to item number 8, and that's adjournment. The meeting has been adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.